Hi guys, my name is Nicolette Mashile. I am also known as the Financial Buddy. Welcome to the Financial Buddy TV. Today we're talking all things improving, but maybe first tracking and then improving your net worth. And why it's so important to actually know what your net worth is, because some people may say, nah, you're just flexing if you know what your net worth is. But what people don't realize is that your net worth can ultimately tell you the health of your financial status. And why do I say this? Generally, people get away with just living year after year and really just being able to earn an income, create a living for themselves and move on with their lives. But the ultimate test of whether or not your finances are healthy and you are moving in the right direction, especially if you want to be building wealth, it is using the net worth to be able to determine this. But how do you calculate it? And before I get into how to calculate this, remember that nothing that I say on this channel constitutes as financial advice. If you are looking for financial advice, please, I'd rather you speak to somebody who is certified and registered with the FSCA. Let's talk a little bit about what a net worth actually is. Well, basically, a net worth is a snapshot of your finances and your situation. We would say, how much are you worth financially? Now, remember, at this point, I gotta step in and say your worth is not attached to your finances. However, from a financial perspective, there is a number that will determine how much you are worth. Right? So how do you do this calculation? Well, you need to take all of your assets, whether it is liquid assets in cash form or it's an asset form, and those are the assets, for instance, that can be turned into cash, and you need to calculate what is the value of your asset base, right? So how much do you have in terms of your assets? So you would take your house, you would take your car, you would take your investment portfolio, you would take land that you may have, and you would give each and every single one of those assets, including your deposit accounts. If you have, for instance, fixed deposit accounts, savings account, money market accounts, you would take the value of all of those and you would give it a cash value, right? Then you would put it on the one side. This is the first part of the mathematical equation. Then you gotta add in the subtract sign when we do mathematics, right? Subtract means that we're going to remove a portion of that asset value. Now you've got to bring in all your liabilities. So people will ask me, but what happens if I've bonded a house, or what happens if I still owe money on my car? Well, essentially the amount that you still owe is what we call a liability, right? As long as you're paying somebody every single month, you have a liability to pay them. You have a liability towards your credit provider. You have a liability towards the bond issuer. So you would then take the outstanding balance and you would put it against the actual asset value that you've got. So we would take your assets, we would subtract your liabilities, and the number that you are left with is ultimately your net worth. And if you want to improve your finances and you want your finances to become a little bit more healthy, we want this number to be going up. Generally, for many people, this number starts off in the negative values, right? Because maybe they've taken up a bond, maybe they've taken up car finance, maybe they've got a loan that they may have. Then this number generally, for most people, if you do not have assets, it would, or if you don't have an asset base that outweighs your liabilities, this number, your net worth, would be in the negatives. What we then want to do is to make that negative figure less and less and less up until you get to zero. Zero is where we would say your assets equal your liabilities. You are at an equilibrium. Now, it means that you are at a fertile ground to either start building your wealth or declining back to a space where your net worth was in the negative. This is why tracking your spending and ensuring that you are paying off your debt as quickly as you can, especially high interest rate debt, you are saving as much as you can, you are investing as much as you can, you are not wasting money on fees when it comes to your investments, when it comes to your insurance policies, you are making sure that you're keeping those fees at bay, bank accounts, you're making sure that you're keeping those fees at bay, and you are channeling your money in a direction where you are going to be buying money generating or income generating or value generating or appreciation of assets. That's what we want to move you to. The moment you hit literally 1 rand more than your asset, if your net worth, for instance, is 10 rand, I'm happy for you, because it means that your liabilities are less than your actual asset base. So if you were to turn your money into cash, it would be more than what you owe somebody. It would be more than the liability that you have. So how do you use the 22Seven app to be able to track your net worth, but also find a way in which you can create strategies to improve it? The first thing you've got to do, of course, it is to download the 22Seven app on iOS or on the Android store. Once you've downloaded it, you need to install it on your phone or your device. Now you've got the app running, you've got to link your bank account. Additionally, over and above linking your bank account, like we were doing when we were paying off debt, when we were doing our budgeting, you now need to also add in any assets that you may have. Generally, the assets that the app will automatically pick up are assets that maybe you are paying through your actual transactional account. We may find that you already have a car that you've paid off. Perhaps maybe you've got some Krugerrands that you have somewhere stashed up. Perhaps maybe you've got properties that were left in your name that are not necessarily things that you pay for through the transactional account that is linked on the app. You would then manually add those assets onto the actual app. And voila, the app is going to do the job for you. It will calculate the rand value of your assets. It will then subtract the rand value of your liabilities. So also very important, so that you don't get a distorted number when it comes to your net worth, and perhaps maybe you're getting a positive number while you've actually excluded some liabilities. If you do have other liabilities that are perhaps, again, not going through the transactional account that you have linked on the 22Seven app, it is important for you to have an honest conversation with yourself by adding those liabilities. So perhaps maybe you have another personal loan that's going through another bank account, or maybe, just maybe, you have a joint personal loan with somebody else, and the bank, the debit order is going off that other person's bank account. It is important to add that liability so that your mathematical equation is as close to accurate as possible. This is the only way in which you are going to be very honest with yourself in determining what is your net worth. If you are not happy with your net worth, it is not the end of the day. Remember that the Nicolette of today is not the Nicolette of tomorrow. I can, at that point, when I now know my net worth, choose to make a decision about the life that I want to live. So now I'm going to go back to the app, track my spending, make sure that I am living a financially purposeful life where I'm making great financial decisions based on some of the nudges and suggestions that the app tells me. Perhaps I'm overspending on takeaways. Perhaps I'm overspending on data. Perhaps I'm being overcharged in terms of fees or insurance policies. Make those slight changes in your life. Really commit to paying yourself first by investing and saving, and you will start to see your net worth moving in the direction that you actually like. I hope to see you guys on the next one. Bye.